Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I rise today in favor of my amendment number 3 to H.R. 6276, which expands on the bill's reporting requirements to have the federal agencies also evaluate whether occupancy and utilization rates are affected by the agency's remote and telework policies. The underlying bill as drafted requires federal agencies and the General Services Administration, or GSA, to measure and report on occupancy and utilization in public buildings and federally leased spaces. My amendment builds on this reporting requirement and forces the agencies to measure how telework and remote work impacts the utilization of its physical office space. Telework and remote work have long been available to the federal workforce, but the wide scale and regular use of such policies drastically increased during COVID. Two priorities of this majority have been to return the federal workforce to work and to understand how remote and telework impacted the efficiency of the federal government and the services it is required to provide to our constituents. The Committee on Oversight and Accountability, under the leadership of Chairman Comer and Sessions, have done great work to accomplish this goal. Mr. Perry's bill and other bills reported by the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee measuring the usage of federal office space make further meaningful steps in achieving the goals of this majority. Yet the agencies have been anything but fully transparent. My amendment seeks to build on this great work by requiring that the agencies measure the new age of remote and telework on the usage of physical government space. With telework and remote work so widely used in 2024, and study on the usage of office space, any study on the usage of office space would be incomplete without measuring it against the number of employees, which only sometimes or never have to physically report to work. This would help Congress understand how much of the federal office spaces are actually being used on a regular basis in the post-COVID world, which would also help us to determine if we need to divest of physical office space to save taxpayers' dollars and streamline the federal government. I urge all my colleagues to support my amendment, and with that I reserve.
The gentlewoman reserves. For what purpose does the gentleman from Washington seek to be recognized?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I claim the time in opposition to the amendment, though I'm not opposed to the amendment.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized.
Mr. Chair, Section 4 of H.R. 6276 requires the heads of federal agencies to submit to the Office of Management and Budget, the General Services Administration, and Congress a report on the usage of real property. The amendment that the representative from Wyoming offers expands the reporting requirement by including the telework and remote work practices of the agency and the impact those policies have on utilization rates in buildings occupied by the respective agency. It certainly would be helpful for Congress to have a clearer picture of these policies and practices across the government. I support this amendment. With that, I reserve the balance of my time.
Reserves. The gentlewoman from is recognized.
Mr. Chairman, with that, I would again urge my colleagues to support the amendment, and with that, I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields back. Gentleman from Washington is recognized.
Thank you, Chair. We have no further comments, and I yield back the balance of our time on this amendment.
The question is on the amendment offered by the gentlewoman from Wyoming. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.